Now we're going to make a veggie patty using bulgur wheat and chickpeas. So it's a great protein source, also adds some additional fiber to your patient's diets. And the base of this is really, really good. And I want patients to be able to season it to whatever their personal tastes are. So to start this recipe, what we're going to do is we're going to have 1 onion here chopped, and I have some oil. I'm going to put that in the pan, turn my pan. You normally want to cook this on a medium heat. And we're going to cook these onions until they're really, really brown. So this is going to take you a few minutes, but believe me, it is well worth the time to cook these onions until they're very, very dark and caramelized and have lots and lots of flavor. You want to stir this around to make sure that you try to get the oil evenly distributed over all these diced onions. By doing that, then we allow the heat to evenly get incorporated into our onions. I don't know if you can hear that, it's actually starting to sizzle right now. So once I've stirred this really well, made sure that the oil has covered as much of the diced onions as possible, I'm going to let this cook for a few minutes before I come back and stir it. So every few minutes I want to just give this a quick stir to help distribute and allow the onions to all cook evenly. So you can see that our onions are starting to turn translucent. They're losing that intense white color and coming more to an opaque, which is what we want. But we actually want a really dark golden brown color. So you can see that our onions are starting to turn brown. Now I want to get them all to either at least a light golden brown or a medium brown. And don't worry about, see how the bottom of the pan is starting to turn brown. Don't worry about that because we're actually going to add some water to this and cook our bulgur wheat with this. I love this technique for cooking whole grains, is you want to add your onions and you want to cook them until they're really golden brown, so you add that depth of flavor to any of the grains that you're cooking with. All right, so you can see that my onions are starting to all turn golden brown. The bottom of my pan is quite brown, which is what you want. And it smells really good. It's starting to smell like French onion soup, that's your key here. All right, so now we're ready to add our bulgur wheat. And bulgur wheat is just the wheat kernels, and they've been chipped. So it's the whole wheat kernel, just cut up into little pieces. And you want to stir that around, let that absorb some of the flavor and some of the oils. And it's got kind of a real earthy smell to it. It smells very, very good. Then we're going to add our water. And you want to turn the heat down to low. Make sure that all of that chipped wheat, that bulgur, has all been moistened. And what we're going to do is we just want to let this simmer until all the liquid is absorbed and the bulgur wheat is actually soft. So this typically takes about 14 to 16 minutes. So what I want to talk about is how do we actually add flavor to these chickpea and bulgur wheat patties. And what I really like about this recipe is that the patient can decide what flavors they want to add to this. So once we finish making the base, we use, this is a great spice. This is from Penzi. It's a salt-free mural of flavors. And what I like about it is it has shallots, onions, garlic, lemon peel, chives, and orange peel. So it is a great spice and herb that you can add to a savory dish. I'm going to add a little bit of coconut aminos, which is fairly low in sodium and is a great substitute for soy sauce. This brand, Coconut Secret, only has 90 milligrams of salt per teaspoon, so it's a great way of getting that soy sauce flavor without adding the sodium. And then another great way of adding flavor, with this recipe today I'm going to use what Spiceology makes, which is called Steak and Bake. It's a great seasoning for typical meat products, but it's really good on plant products as well. And it has a little bit of heat to it. So why I like to use this for this recipe is because we're going to make this and then serve it with this kiwi and strawberry salsa. So the little bit of heat in the patty gets smoothed out by the fruit salsa. All right, so I'm going to show you how we're going to make the base of this chickpea and bulgur wheat patty, and then the patient can flavor it however they like. So what we're going to start with is I have some cashews. These are unsalted cashews. And you want to put them in the food processor first, and you want to process these up before you add the rest of the ingredients. So I have fairly small chopped up cashews. Now I'm going to add my chickpeas. I'm adding my roasted garlic cloves. I have some cilantro leaves. This is that coconut amino acid that's a lower sodium than soy sauce. And I'm adding some vinegar, and I like using a rice wine vinegar because it's a little milder than a cider vinegar or a distilled vinegar. And then what I'm going to add to this is my cooked off bulgur and onion mixture. All right, so my bulgur and onions have been cooking for about 14 to 16 minutes. The liquid's all been absorbed into the bulgur. And because my processor is fairly small, I'm only going to make a half batch here to show you. So I'm just putting in half of the bulgur. And then all you have to do is you're just going to mix this together. And today, we're actually going to use some of that steak and bake seasoning because I want a little bit of heat added to my chickpea and bulgur wheat patties. Oh, that smells so good, and it hasn't even been cooked yet. You want to give that one quick little stir. Make sure everything's mixed in off the sides. And then what we're going to do, let me clear off my workspace here, and I'm going to show you how to make these into patties. To make these into patties, I just take a heaping half a cup. And I put that on a piece of saran wrap, plastic wrap, because it's going to be, it's a little warm still and kind of gooey, which is okay. And I just pat that into the patty, and I'm going to stick this into the refrigerator for about a half hour. You can even make these a day ahead if you'd like. I know when I was really sick as a patient, I always liked things that I could make on the weekend and then just quickly cook them on the weekdays. So there, I have a patty. I'm just going to put this in the refrigerator for about 20-30 minutes till it firms up. And then I'm going to show you how we cook those. So our bulgur wheat and chickpea patties have been chilled, and what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of oil to a nonstick pan. And I always add just a touch of oil, even to the nonstick pans, because it also helps with cleanup. And I'm just gonna drop that right into my pan. And we're gonna let that cook, and we just wanna get a golden brown on each side. Now you can do these on the barbecue, but I would recommend you put a metal plate on your barbecue because the grates on your barbecue are too far apart and this is gonna fall down on those grates and it's hard to get off the grates. So I actually have a couple metal they're just flat metal that I can grill, and I can just put a little bit of oil on my barbecues. So during the summer, I do a lot of barbecuing, and these are a great addition to any barbecue. So I don't know if you can hear, this is sizzling, which is what we want. You can see that it will move around the nonstick pan. And everything in here is cooked, so what we're just really wanting to do is brown the outside and heat it up through the inside. And it just takes a minute or two to brown on each side if your pan is already hot. So I'm cooking this on probably medium heat. I've preheated my pan. And while we're just browning the last side, I'm gonna get ready. I've got my kiwi and strawberry salsa. I've got a nice whole wheat hamburger bun that I wanna put my patty on. So you've got a great protein source, you've got additional fiber from the fruit, from the grains. So I think this is a wonderful meal to have. And there you have it. So we have a Bulgur wheat chickpea patty with really spicy, low sodium, actually no salt flavoring, and a wonderful fruit salsa made of kiwi and strawberries.